Hey crypto traders, we haven't checked in a while. A lot's gone on over the last week of trading. We've got a lot of weakness out there, but also places where there is clear relative strength. Let's look at all the charts on the longer term time frames and zoom in from there to see short term as well. So I was on a little beach escape, intentionally not trading over the last 4 days, so I have no positions, no trades to update on the flush down that we saw while I was away. I stopped out of all positions that I was in at that point. I had some partial swing positions open in, I forget who, Luna, in ADA, I think it was, maybe Sol. Either way, back to all cash with everything and now being patient. So we're going to start on the longer term time frames and we'll zoom in and look at everything from there. One thing I want to note about the conditions of this market environment, there is currently more opportunity for traders in cryptocurrency than at any point I can remember in the last 4 years. What do I mean by that? I mean coins are doing their own things. In 2017, 2018, if Bitcoin was up, everything was going up just to varying degrees. And if Bitcoin was down, everything was going down, same thing. In this current market environment, you've got Luna hitting all-time highs while Bitcoin's 20% off of its all-time high. You've got Link in a daily uptrend while Bitcoin's in a daily downtrend. You've got bulls and bears all over the place, and that's a good sign. It's a maturing market, but most importantly, it provides opportunity in both directions for traders, which is a good thing. So if you're looking bearish, you're looking at the weaker names, and if you're looking bullish, you're looking at the stronger names. So right now on Bitcoin, big picture, I am looking for a monthly high or low, anything above 28.8 thousand. That being said, the size of the retracement at this point, we will be cautious of, if we set that high or low, a monthly low or high forming. And if you remember, the monthly high or low made that entry, I was cautious of a monthly low or high forming here as well. Obviously, that did not happen and the bulls followed through, but because of the size of this retracement, I will always be anticipating the potential of a monthly lower high on the next bounce. If we confirm a monthly downtrend, it is a very significant shift in market environment for me. Right now, I can look at the monthly and say, okay, well, we're in a big picture, long-term monthly uptrend. As long as we keep setting those higher lows, bulls keep the big picture control. If that changes, then the market environment changes. So we will be scouting a monthly lower high. Remember the second chance, my swing trade from that monthly position, I sold with my second chance bounce right here in the $51,000 range. That was my second chance because we dropped bearish, broke a lot of support, and then we bounced anticipating the lower high. Monthly, bulls are going to be looking for a second chance. Right now, there's a lot of bulls saying, oh man, I should have sold more in the 60,000s. What was I thinking? Yada, yada. If we were to set a monthly high or low, obviously there's no sign of it right now, but let's just say we bounce from here and 39.6 is our monthly high or low. There's going to be a lot of bulls looking for their second chance opportunity to sell positions in the $50,000 range. If there's no, significant news catalyst, we're going to be watching for that and have to be cautious of that lower high. Weekly perspective, bear flag confirmed. Was it a head and shoulders? Again, I don't care much about details of patterns. What I care about is a head and shoulders pattern is a weekly uptrend to a weekly downtrend. So we were in a weekly uptrend, we lost some supports, and we confirmed a weekly downtrend. That's enough for me to say, yeah, it's a head and shoulders pattern. You go from an uptrend, you confirm a downtrend. Either way, we are in a weekly downtrend, a monthly uptrend, and a daily downtrend. So shorter term, the bears have full control. Longer term, the bulls are still in an uptrend. So as far as the daily is concerned, we just had a daily bear flag confirm with a lack of follow through. The current bounce is notable, but we have to change the hourly trend. And we're watching the broader market as well. There's a lot of broader market weakness. First things first, the dollar is still trading sideways. So no information until one of these levels breaks. And if you're a crypto bull, you want to see a support level break on this sideways range that we've been within for the last month plus. The broader market, SPY is weak over the last 4 days. The NASDAQ is even weaker. The NASDAQ just hit the lowest price in almost 3 months. So that is fresh fear lows. Our growth names are seeing significant weakness as well. IWM is testing its many month lows. So we have broader market fear and a shifting environment. We had significant weakness in response to the Fed minutes. So as we're seeing the Fed look to potentially shift tapering or have rates raised in 2022, you're seeing a lot of shifting going on with the financial sector hitting new all-time highs the past couple of days, the tech sector selling off. So again, there's a lot of swirling around of rotation taking place. It's not sky is falling fear, because you have things like the financial sector hitting an all-time high today. The energy sector has been really strong. It hit the highest price in many, many months today. Utilities, generally a defensive sector, no major red flags there. So there are places that are holding on just fine. It's not the kind of scenario where everything is dumping at the same time, which is, again, what I would call a sky is falling type of fear scenario. This is more rotation than it is fear, but Bitcoin and crypto has been hurt in response to that shift in what the expectations for the Fed are in 2022. So Bitcoin, short-term timeframes, we must see an hourly trend change from here, which means holding 39.6 and breaking 42.1. That would be a higher low and higher high. And then we play the zoom out game. We then look at 4-hour resistance. We then look at our daily top of the bounce. So keeping a close eye on the bounce to try and play out. And right now, we're not tick for tick correlated with the broader market. But if I'm a Bitcoin bull, I want to see the NASDAQ here confirm this 15-minute trend change. The NASDAQ was very weak all morning. We were down almost 3%, which is very significant for QQQ to be down 3%. But a bull move here is only going to help Bitcoin. So keeping a close eye on the broader market. Again, even though we're not doing the exact same thing on the 5-minute time frame, it's something that we want to be paying attention to. And right now we're at a point where the daily RSI was oversold, the 4-hour, the hourly, everything was getting beat up. Do we have a downtrending support line we can keep an eye on? I don't know. Let's see. You could keep an eye on that. And as far as resistance, I would be drawing it like this. That's worth paying attention to, in my opinion. 12-hour falling wedge could potentially indicate a monthly higher low. Obviously, we need a lot of proving, but if these bulls get over 42.8, which was the top of that weak daily bounce, then we're going to be looking at this as a potential falling wedge to be keeping our eyes on. But for now, we know the burden of proof is on the bulls. Positions that I'm looking for from here, I will be looking for stronger altcoin entries when I have a bit more confidence in the Bitcoin bulls. And close to having some confidence here, but I want to see how the rest of the day plays out with the NASDAQ. And it's the kind of situation where I'd be looking for entries bottom fishing the current lows, because if the current lows break, then obviously the bears are affirming their complete control. The names that I'm looking at are the names that are stronger than Bitcoin. Look at the monthly time frames. So remember the monthly play on Bitcoin where we surged to all-time highs and backtested EMA 12. That was my best swing trade of 2021 in any market, was that monthly high or low. Look at Sol. Sol USD on the monthly time frame is the same setup. We're not close to EMA 12 just yet, but we're scouting a monthly high or low. I am much more confident making a bullish entry on a monthly chart that looks like Sol, scouting a monthly high or low, than I am on something that is losing monthly support or is not nearly as strong. So keeping a close eye on Sol for that setup. Luna hasn't even started monthly consolidation, but we know the next time it does, tons of space for a monthly high or low to form. So again, there are individual names that are standing out clearly stronger. We've got equilibriums, AVAX, USDT, clear weekly equilibrium battling to hold the low of 75.50. There is a bottom fish off of that support level. And if we do bounce from here in the cryptocurrency space, we will have a weekly equilibrium to be watching. Sand also had a weekly equilibrium. Is it still holding? No, we broke support. 442 broke. No follow through at this point. But again, go to the monthly. So these metaverse names have tons of space for a monthly high or low on this consolidation. And I believe Mana has already started monthly consolidation, scouting that high or low, watching our retracement size, and Sand is still inside bars. So again, there's a lot of setups that we can be watching, bigger picture, that are not doing the same thing as Bitcoin. Again, that's the most important aspect of things. And we're scouting. We got Link in a daily uptrend. Link is setting daily higher lows, completely ignoring the Bitcoin weakness over the past couple of weeks. So we're jumping all over the place here. Let's try and settle back in. So hourly trend change needed for Bitcoin. If we confirm it, 42.8 is a double top and the most important level for me because that is now our daily lower high. Look at the 12-hour EMA 12. We have rejected from 12-hour EMA 12 resistance every single attempt for the last 2 weeks. We have to get over that EMA resistance, and it's aligning with 42.8 thousand right now. Bulls have proving to do. Dominance chart is a triple bottom on the monthly. And again, we know more often than not, if the dominance chart is bouncing, it's because crypto is weak and alts are weaker. Yes, it is possible that the dominance chart bounces because Bitcoin is stronger than alts, but it has not happened very often over the last 2 years, or however long you want to look, year and a half. I'm viewing this as a triple bottom, 39.6, 39.5, 39.3. As long as it's holding the 39s, for me, that is a base of support that's being established. Currently, the daily bounce, you can look at it on the weekly. Whatever time frame you're looking at, we're looking at lower highs on the bigger picture here. So I'm viewing this as a low, lower high, double bottom, lower high, triple bottom, and anything under 47.7 will be yet another lower high. So just keeping an eye on that. But again, as the market environment is so diverse right now, with individual names standing out so much better than others, it's really a case-by-case basis. And that's why you want to be using the Alt BTC pairings as your guide. This is just something that I look in on and say, okay, yeah, we're still holding that 39 level. But I'm not getting a ton of information on the dominance chart, and it's much less useful than it used to be. Ethereum is another name that is scouting a monthly high or low. We're at EMA 12, which we bounced off of last time, and anything above 17, 18 is a high or low. We can drop 30% from here and still be looking for a monthly high or low. So again, there's bigger picture. Bulls aren't overly concerned with this current uptrend. What would be concerning is setting a monthly high or low and then setting a monthly lower high. Then bulls get concerned because that opens up the possibility of confirming a monthly downtrend. And the last thing you want to see in the crypto space is a major coin that is in a monthly, weekly, daily downtrend. We still got these longer term uptrends in play. And especially if monthly EMA 12 holds, again, there's no major, huge red flags as long as that is the case. I'm obviously I'm in turtle mode to a certain degree. I'm very patient. And of course, I've been away, so that was one reason for it. But as long as the broader market is uncertain and as long as crypto is weak, I'm very patient. And the only bounces that I'm looking to trade are big time liquidation flushes, which have gone well, trading them over the last, however, we played this bounce, we played the bounce off of 30,000. And one thing that we're looking at is how, similar to the summer we are here. I pointed this out in the past, and a member pointed it out as well. But just keeping an eye on this, because at this point we have, the lower highs and lower lows. We double topped, dropped to a fresh low, lower highs and lower lows, double top, dropped to a fresh low. And just watching to see if we putter around here in a similar Wyckoff accumulation pattern to set our monthly high or low. It's certainly still very similar. It's not exactly similar, but still very similar to how it played out last time. Flush liquidation wick, we broke it without much follow through. So this liquidation wick of 42.3, we have broken it now by, maybe we'll say 6%. And this one broke by about 4%. So bulls would love to be able to bounce from here and keep it very similar to that last time around. One other thing to note, how we find bottoms, bears tiring versus liquidation flushes. We bottom in two ways. We bottom with an all-out liquidation flush with everything getting crushed and short-term time frames, RSIs, just absolute smashed into the dirt. If that's not happening, we watch for bear exhaustion. And bear exhaustion is lower lows that lack follow-through. And we had that on this most recent bounce. We ended up with a low at 41,000. We broke it by less than $500. We then double bottomed. That's showing bears struggling to follow through with lower lows. And then from there, we bounced 5%. And then we had another lower low. Again, not a ton of follow through. It was a lower low by less than $1,000 straight into a bounce. So for me, this is still a bit of bear exhaustion taking place because we're not seeing a fresh low and then follow through by 5% plus. And if you look at the break of 42,000, that had follow through. because we didn't just drop below it for, 5-minute candles and then V-shaped bounce. We dropped below it and then we followed through for another half hour plus. So again, just want to differentiate breaks that have followed through and breaks that lack follow through. And at this point in time on the 4-hour time frame, I am still viewing this as bear breaks that are lacking follow through. We can draw a downtrending support line as a guide. We know falling wedges, by definition, are bear breaks that lack follow through. So I'd be keeping an eye on a bit of a megaphone pattern. But downtrending support to be keeping an eye on. All over the place. It's like, because I haven't checked in such a long time, there's 150,000 things I want to say. So weekly time frame on Ethereum still very weak. The daily is a lower high every day for the last 6 days. We know the bears are in complete control still here. But again, we have bear breaks that are starting to lack follow through. A lower low by $65 straight into a bounce. A lower low by $71 straight into a bounce attempt. Daily RSI oversold. So certainly at this point on a name like Ethereum, I'm only looking bearish on a daily lower high bounce, and I would be scouting bullish entries, certainly protecting positions, but bullish is the direction that I'm currently leaning with Ethereum and Bitcoin with daily oversold conditions. ETH BTC monthly consolidation underway. Anything above 593 is a higher low. Weekly perspective attempted to shape up a bull flag, but that is no longer the case. Very clear weakness on the daily. So we're scouting. The best case scenario for Ethereum bulls is for the US dollar and the BTC pairing to both set monthly higher lows together. And that is when bulls would have the best follow through on any higher lows being set. So we have to be keeping an eye on the BTC pairing as well. And right now the BTC pairing is not giving any confidence as far as, I have no interest in trading Ethereum right now because this ETH BTC pairing is weak. And because there's other coins where their BTC pairing is much stronger. I would rather play bullish on the names that have a stronger ET or alt BTC pairing. So we know Sol is looking for a monthly higher low, daily oversold conditions, lower high every single day for the last 8 days. And again, just keeping an eye out for daily oversold conditions to help try and mark a monthly higher low. If I'm an aggressive bull, I'm looking for a couple scale-in entries. I'm looking to scale out into a bounce and looking to put my stop under the low risk-free. You've seen me talk about this if you've been watching number of times. That's what I did on the Bitcoin monthly higher low. That's what I did on some recent weekly bounces on names like Sol. But at this point, let's see, what would I need for a Sol re-entry? So one thing that would keep me cautious on Sol is that the BTC pairing is on the verge of monthly consolidation. And granted, it's still way stronger than the US dollar pairing, which started monthly consolidation a month ago. But if we were to break that level, that would just tell me be more patient and stick to waiting. If we hold that level with a double bottom, which is still possible, and change, a 4-hour trend, then I would start to get interested in that double bottom holding to gain some confidence for a Sol USDT entry. But we are on the verge of a bear break. So personally, that would keep me patient. And any name that's breaking the lower lows and lacking follow through, I draw falling wedges just to keep an eye on. These are my visual guides. And right now, Sol USDT is trying to shape up a 4-hour falling wedge. So keeping an eye on that. We've got XRP USD. This is a 4-hour falling wedge as well. And I drew this morning, and since then, we broke support and dropped and bounced right back in to this pattern. So that keeps me watching it, and that tells me this is a valid pattern to keep an eye on. XRP BTC needs to set a daily higher low here to try and shape up a trend change. If we can set up an XRP BTC daily higher low, aligning with a bull break of XRP USD falling wedge, that is a nice confluence of signals to keep an eye out for. So I haven't, cared about XRP in a long time, but this falling wedge caught my eye, and the BTC pairing has space for that daily higher low. Luna USDT monthly inside bar, weekly time frame, still looking for a higher low off EMA 12 support. So we're still in a weekly uptrend. If there's a name in a monthly and weekly uptrend, I would rather play that name bullish than a name that's in a weekly downtrend. Currently, we have a 12-hour higher low attempt. Nice bottom fish. Anything above 62.46 is a higher low. We just held that level. The bulls would have to break 75.67 to confirm the 12-hour trend change and shape up a weekly higher low off of that EMA 12. Luna BTC, 12 hours doing the same thing. Watch for those 12-hour trend changes. Luna BTC is way more space for a weekly higher low and is still a potential weekly bull flag at this point as far as I'm concerned. So I'm keeping an eye on the stronger names. Luna, the Sol monthly higher low, Link, daily uptrend. We know we're scouting Link's equilibrium here, monthly equilibrium. So we got our high, low, lower high, and now a higher low. This is a great monthly equilibrium because it's likely going to continue tightening up and eventually give us a break sometime in a couple of months. Pay attention to this chart. Link BTC, how did we break bull? A long, drawn out, weak, very weak. Link has been very weak for a long time. This is a mini version of why I'm still watching Litecoin. So this was 4 months of bears in complete control, and this 1 week gave significant bullish opportunity. And if you look at Litecoin, how is it similar? Well, we know Litecoin's been a lead bear, but look at Litecoin's monthly. It's scouting a monthly higher low compared to 103 for a monthly equilibrium. Link already set that monthly higher low, but again, it's a similar setup in that regard. But the LTC BTC chart, when this bad boy breaks, it's going to break with a vengeance, in my opinion. I have no idea when it will be. It could be in 6 months. I have no idea. But I do know that I'm going to continue watching it as long as we don't flush to clear lower lows, because this is a long, drawn-out falling wedge, and it is similar enough to the Link BTC chart that just broke bull. Again, that was just a condensed version, 4 months instead of multiple years, but very, very similar. If I drop this down to the 2-month time frame, it looks the same as that Link weekly chart did. But we are currently testing these lows, and we've been trading sideways for 6 weeks. If we drop down and break, again, if we break 288 with follow through, then I say, nope, don't care about this pattern anymore. But as long as the lower lows lack follow through, I'm watching for that wedge, because there will come a period in time where even if it's just for a 2-week time span, a move like that is enough to make your month or multiple months. So keeping an eye on it, not doing anything with it as far as placing any active trades, just something that I check in on every day or every couple of days. Bears, ENS is a lead bear. It's all-time lows. Why would you want to choose a name bearish that's in a monthly and weekly uptrend when you can choose a name that's at all-time lows? And shout out to the Chart Guys members that have been on shorting ENS. As soon as 37 broke, nothing. And here we are way lower with a lower high every single day. Only reason I know about this name is from the airdrop way back when, which I did lock in a long time ago, fortunately. But the bears are in complete control in every single time frame. It's a bear's best friend. 4-hour EMA 12 rejections constantly. At this point, I would not be entering any bearish positions. I'd be waiting for a daily bounce to cool off RSI and scouting a daily lower high to be the result of that bounce. All right. Scatterbrain today, but getting organized again. Trader Pro alert. I don't think we talked about it, but Bitcoin fired off. Super stack on the hourly. And again, one thing I wanted to point out here is the need for trend changes, because you can fire these super stack alerts, which again tell you when a bunch of time frames are all aligning in certain oversold conditions in unison, and that generally tells you at least a short-term bounce is coming. But look at this previous one. It was near the low and we bounced, but we never changed the hourly trend. Here's another one. It's near the low and we bounced, and again, that's where the 5 and 15-minute and 30-minute RSI levels help you get an entry that allows to be in the green sooner rather than later. But if this is going to follow through, marking any kind of real bottom, the hourly trend change has to be a result. So that's why I am personally a fan of scaling out a partial position to then be risk-free and let the bounce try and play out. And if I stop out, break even, so be it. But gotta scale out partial into downtrends, because this bounce on the hourly for Bitcoin cooled off RSI levels pretty much across the board, aside from the daily RSI. But again, if you're playing counter trend, you want to be scaling in and scaling out to remain protective. Feel free to ask any questions. It's going to be an exciting week for crypto. So now we're in Canyonlands National Park, which is just a couple hours away from Arches National Park and near Moab in Utah. They're all fairly centralized as far as road trips go. So this is another great spot, nice picture. But this is the kind of spot where it's so expansive and it's hard to believe your eyes when you're looking at it. It's almost like if you were an ant and someone took their hand and put it in some soft sand or some wet sand and left a hand imprint, and that's what you're looking at, because you're up on this overlook and it's just this huge expanse in front of you, but there's these crazy rock formations where water has just carved away over millions of years and eroded, and you could definitely mistake this for the Grand Canyon in some ways, blurry lizard friend, in a hole. That's a much better camouflage, dude. That's my National Geographic shot of the trip. Good camo. These are those handles, footholds and handholds carved into the sandstone just from usage from the Native Americans thousands of years ago. So really cool to see those still there and to see the paths that they walked on a daily basis. This is where a meteorite crashed, I believe, in the area. And you can see all the different minerals and elements and sand way different there where that crash took place. I want to say that they think this might be the one that took out the dinosaurs, but I don't remember correctly. Gonna have to double check that one, but just a really cool big drop down with some cool colors right off the side of Canyonlands. And there's the rivers carving their way through. And definitely the most epic sunset of the entire trip. Again, just not real. Up to the rocks, it looks real, and then it just looks like a big old painting like they used to do in older movies for backdrops. But yeah, you could watch that every day. There's your meditation. Just sit and watch the sunset for an hour every day. That's all you got to do. So let's see, from there, camped there that night, and the campsite, as far as the park goes, is literally like, a walk away from this overlook. And there was a German family, fairly younger couple. They're probably in their early 40s, and they had a kid with them who was maybe 6 or so. And they were biking from Canada to Mexico. And this was maybe a third of the way there. And they didn't have a spot to camp, and it was just me by myself in my camp spot, and it was the designated sites in a developed camp spot. So they asked if they could join me, and I said, sure. So nice to meet people, as always. There are so many Europeans in our national parks. If you go in the summer to national parks, you're going to be looking at, 90%, maybe that's a lie, 80% Europeans, because the national park system is fairly world-renowned. And the United States, as far as what our government has done, I'd say if you have to mark up, top accomplishments, the national park system is definitely up there. So people come from all over the world. They have all different ethnicities and races. And, walking on popular trails, you hear multiple different languages spoken, and usually nice and very friendly people. And when you're walking on a trail, make eye contact with people and say hello. It's always awkward when you're just staring at the ground and intentionally avoiding eye contact. There's no reason to be afraid. You can smile at strangers. We'll see you tomorrow.